Smooth cream. Roughly 100 of those people come from smooth cream. I guess. Slightly is say and sing. Roughly 30. Slightly is say roughly 30. Slightly is say and sing. Roughly 30. Slightly is black to cream, go for green, not blue. Black to cream, go for green, not blue. Black to cream, go for green, not blue. Black, go for green, not blue. Privacy and safety of others. Privacy and safety of others. Don't get out. Privacy and safety of others. Privacy and safety of others. Don't get out. Getting good feedback. Tubular feedback. Fences. Getting good feedback. Tubular installation. Getting good feedback. Tubular feedback. Fences. Getting the best. Fences become green. Only fencing dollars. Fences become green. Smooth cream. Fences stop all. Only fencing dollars. The best. Black to cream, go for green, not blue. Black to cream, go for green, not blue. Black to cream, go for green, not blue.
It's all right. All you have to do is press the. I think you just have to unmute yourself because I had to mute you because you were speaking. So there we
Yeah,
go. No, you're
I had
all
a
right.
problem I had a problem signing into Rumble. It was giving me crap.
Oh, I don't know you have to do that. But anyway, welcome aboard, sir, and of course, welcome everyone to the Darachat, or my name is Daramouthe, or Dara for short, because some people say Daramouthe, and life's not easy when someone mispronounces your name. You're just like, look, I'm not Sharon, it's Sean. But anyway, how are you, good sir? Sorry, Darth Dad. I should do like Darth Dad, something like that.
Yeah. I don't have my
So,
voice box with me. Sorry.
in a
I'm
world
not.
long ago.
Yeah, I'm not doing bad.
Well,
Not doing bad.
it's light where you are. You must be on the Pacific or somewhere, because
Yeah, it's afternoon my
yeah,
time, so 4 o'clock.
it's getting dark here, and it's still cold, and it's still nasty. Ugh, I just wish it was done with. I wish the snow was gone, but what can I do, right? Hey guys, how are you doing? Magdadonia. Yeah, it was weird because I saw your bio was like Scottish descent. I was like, oh, does he speak some Scottish? I'm like, no, he's just descent. He's just descended from Scottish.
Yep.
I was like,
I've been actually going on YouTube trying to teach myself some. I've learned a few things, but
he's come to my show and he doesn't know any Scottish. I'm gonna have to fight him.
You're fired.
You're fired, like every man who wishes they were. Oh no, but that's all right. But thank you for coming on. No, this is probably something new to you, so do not worry. There is no need for alarm. Everything is okay. Don't forget your towel. That's a whatever that one was. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That's right. I was trying to think of that.
Yeah, I'm a people person anyway, so I'd slide right in.
That's right. He slides right in like he's playing for the Yankees and the Red Sox are coming in hot. And he's like, "Screw you guys! You think you could take me on?" No, but yeah, I do appreciate it. It was like it was probably a weird thing. Someone's reaching out to like, "Would you come on?" It's like, did I get bot or something? What's going on here?
Me?
Yeah. Wait, did I just miss a subscription? I didn't pay off. What's going on? No, so I do this thing. Just have free flowing conversations with people. And I do not a bad accent. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You'll get that silver coin in your pocket later. I appreciate it. But no, I do this thing where it's kind of just reaching across to talk to people. So like when you're at the dinner table, right? And you remember the days where families would have a conversation at the dinner table, or you go to like a old diner thing, and you'd sit across from a friend, drink coffee, whatever. I drink hot cocoa, but to each their own, right? But I do this thing where I talk to
without a
people
phone in their face. Yeah.
without a phone in their face, like, what would you say again? Did you know that this plane was like, all that stuff?
Sorry, I'm killing Candy Crush right now. Yeah.
I'm getting killed by the Crush, Candy Crush, bro. I gotta do more. I got this microtransactions asking me like $2. I gotta pay it, man. I gotta get past this. But no, I do this thing. I talk to a bunch of different people. I've talked to people from all over the place. I've talked to people of different talents. I've talked to people who are creators or not creators. I just do this thing, just talking to people all over. Because it's a weird thing. For me, I didn't. I mean, in doing this thing, right? Because this is a silly thing in its own self. I was I was doing like streaming video games or whatnot, all that stuff. That silly stuff, and it just wasn't clicking for me, right? Like I just didn't really get into it. I was just doing like Minecraft stuff or whatnot, and then I have like a first person on. Her name was Zora, lovely lady, and after that it was sort of like, okay, so there's something here, and it was sort of sporadic, but it wasn't until like April of last year they started doing like this whole calendar deal. So like this is towards the end of February, but this is sort of like my calendar sort of thing.
Nice.
And it's pretty packed with a bunch of different people returning and new, and so it's just been interesting to kind of have conversations with people who are considered content creators or who create stuff, and people who aren't. And I think that's something that's I didn't see very much of it from the creators I was following. They're talking about movies and entertainment industry and politics and all this stuff. I'm just like, why not just talk why chickens, something about chickens or something like that, just silly stuff that doesn't really mean anything or doesn't have really uh any justification being talked about. You're just talking about something, and
Yeah. Is the sky blue today? I've seen so many people that post stupid questions on X, and I'm like, dude, why does this person have 1 million followers?
I can't get nothing. I keep asking why the sky is blue too, and they're like, okay, so there's this thing called science, and it says it's because of the water. It's like, no, you moron. I don't want that. I want the engagement. No, I've
Yeah,
seen those
exactly.
things.
And I
Yeah,
swore when I started my page,
yeah.
first of all, I never expected to have, I don't even know what I have now, 12,000 something followers.
Mm,
I thought 1,000 if I was lucky. So
mm,
in 2 years to get where I've got, it completely floored me.
yeah,
But then I started seeing these accounts that have 1 million, 3 million, and I look at the stuff they post, and I'm like, I just don't get it. What? How is this engaging? And I also told my wife when I started it, when it actually started to grow, I said,
mm,
I will never be one of those people.
mm,
I actually want to have conversations with the people that are on my page.
mm,
I don't want to post something just to get impressions.
mm,
That's not who I am. I
yeah,
said at the beginning, I'm a people person.
yeah,
I was in sales for since 1995. That's what I did. So I had to learn how to deal with store managers and stuff.
mm,
I like talking to people. I don't want to just go on there and post something and just sit back and collect my money.
yeah,
I'm not even monetized. It's not something that's even I've even thought of, to be honest with
yeah,
you. If it happens one day, cool.
yeah,
A little extra money, whatever. But that's not my motivation.
yeah,
I like connecting with people.
yeah,
So
yeah. And that's the thing too. Is like, again, I mean, for me, whether it be Twitter X, which, I mean, after they monetized, it was a lot of just bait posting and engagement posting. That was a fun time. Yeah,
it's a pyramid scheme now.
yeah. Well, yeah, it's sort of like what Amway is, right? they they say
Yeah.
they say it's not a pyramid scheme, but it's like, okay, so who's at the top? These Diamond Club people. Okay, so
Yeah, and the more people you have underneath you, the better you'll do.
yeah, it's
Get out of here.
yeah, it's a pyramid thing. But my thing is like, I didn't see a lot. I followed a lot of different content creators, like YouTube and whatnot. But it was sort of this thing where it's like all they're talking about is what Hollywood's going on, politics or whatever, and they're not really talking to people who are sort of on the ground floor of things, right? I mean, you just think of it this way, right? People, there are a lot of people who have something to say, even if they say, I don't feel like I have a lot to say. I don't think what I say is important enough. I'm like, you have no idea of that, do you? You just say that because that's what you believe, but I've had on over 130 different guests, and I'm still yet to be surprised that someone has. Well, I've had a few that were hard, but it's not like they didn't have anything to say. They were just like it was trying to draw water from stone. It was like, a few. But other than that, it's just this weird thing where some people will say, "Oh, I don't think I have anything interesting to say or important to say." I'm like, dude, you're talking to somebody who's beaten that thing, so try me.
Yeah.
I'm going to take you on.
And I felt the same way when I started this page. Like I said, I didn't think I was going to go anywhere. So when it actually started to gain traction, and I started interacting with people, and I have a lot of good friends. There's people I'd love to go have a X party, find a location, and go party with these people because it would be off the hook.
Yeah, you gotta be careful of how you say it, though. You gotta be careful. If you're gonna say an X party, you gotta make sure it's just like the X of like Twitter X. You want to be like X party. But Darth Dad is that kind of guy? What?
I know. A Twitter. Yeah, anyways.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it like that. But I've made a lot of. Yeah, I've made a lot of good friends.
Yeah.
On this page, and I never saw it going there. So.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Yeah, I mean, again, majority of my communication is through. I've communicated through emails, but that's on a minuscule point. I've communicated through Discord, but that's on a minuscule point. Majority of my communication for having the people on is mostly through Twitter X, and base right there. But the matter of the point is I just didn't see a lot of people just sitting down and having conversations with it. It's usually what happens is usually have these content creators, they use a singular or circle, and they build this circle around themselves. It's fine, friends and all this stuff, but it only seems like they either go within their niche of whatever they do, or they go for someone who raises their status, which is understandable, right? Because you want to be seen, but you miss the point of, like, say you have a content creator, whatever platform, and they have like 10,000 people following them, right? Just imagine the conversations they could have if they had like 1/4 of those people that came on their stream, right? Imagine out of 10,000, 2,000 came on or whatever. And there's that thing that's missing, right? Because we keep having these online conversations on social media where it's all just worded text, and there's a emotional piece that's missing from it where you can't see their face, you can't see how they're saying it, and you have these people just rabid attacking them if they say something online or defensive or whatever. And that's a piece of what we're missing, is just having a conversation just to have it instead of whatever, right? And it feels like it should be a simple thing, but in truth it's not, to some degree, and that's the weird part. For me,
it brought out all the keyboard warriors. They feel safe behind that little and I kind of understand it. I don't know how much you've watched my page. I know you've seen quite a bit.
Yeah.
I'm actually disabled. I'm waiting for SSDI claim to go through, so I don't get out much.
Yeah.
X it's kind of my outlet to the outside world.
Right.
Doing dishes screws me up for days.
Right.
Like it's that bad. So this, I feel like I actually have some contact, because otherwise it's just me and my wife and my daughter, and I pick my daughter up from high school 2 days a week.
Right.
That's as much as I get out. So X has, to a certain extent, kept me sane. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I'm not completely isolated.
Right. Yeah, because you have I mean, there are some people who are like that, like yourself, who the only way to get outreach is through the technological side, because maybe they can't do stuff like you can, or whatever, depending on the circumstances. There's all different forms of disability, but however there's an isolation form to it at times, and so you need an outlet, like you were saying for this one. X kind of does that.
It turned into my full-time job.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I probably spend 5-6 hours a day on it, to be completely honest with you, just trying to keep my mind occupied, so I'm not going dark places.
Yeah.
Because that would be very easy to do in my situation, is to go to a very dark corner.
Hey, look, I sometimes I do that when I have a very hard Sudoku puzzle. All right, sometimes it's just like there's too many. I can't do this anymore. Where do I put the 9? Where do I put the 9? Oh goodness. Or you're like you're doing a piece of puzzle. It's like where's the quarter piece? Where's the quarter piece? Where's the
No, it's never there for me. By the way, when I buy a puzzle, it's always guaranteed that there's at least 2 pieces missing, and then that's a guaranteed. That's been my lot. That's been my entire life. I have so many bosses over the years that have told me, Fincher, if it wasn't for bad luck, you wouldn't have any luck at all.
Wow.
I bought brand new TVs, brought them home, plugged them in, turned it on, pop, smoke. Like, it's just, that's been my life.
Jeez. You sure you didn't go to like some old circus and there was some old fortune lady teller and you're like, okay, I'll give you $2, but I really don't believe this. And then she's like, in your future, you shall have things break when you buy them. And you're just like,
I wish I had a heads up like that. It just happened.
That's a movie right there. Every day since his life, he's always broken something, but he's never touched it.
Yep.
Oh goodness, yeah.
It was, in fact, the one TV I was thinking of. It was when projection TVs were the thing. It was the new tech.
Yeah.
Went and bought it, brought it home, plugged it in, and I'm not kidding. I pressed the power button on the remote, and I heard pop, and it just smoke bellowed out the backside, and I'm like, just. You got to be freaking kidding me, because that's not a small TV. It's not like you pick it up and carry it back down.
Oh no,
those huge.
Those things were I remember those because they had so if they don't remember, the projector TVs were like these big huge screens, and then at the front of it had like these projector lights, and you would put it towards the screen, and of course it had different colors and stuff. But I mean, this is like this is like years and years ago. This is like 90s 80s technology, right?
They were like 2 or 3 feet deep on the back side of it. They were huge.
Oh yeah. Yeah, those things. The only thing was good for was like I saw one going through YouTube. I saw one guy take like one of the screens, right? And he put it on like this frame, and he would tilt it, and he would use it, have the sun go through it, and kind of focus it and burn stuff with it. It was like,
he could. I think he cooked with it. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, and I'd be like, yeah,
that's genius.
I'd be like, you could do that, but there's some evil genius going on here that I think you need to step away from. You're just like, okay, so how do we take this guy out? Look, if you just want to take him out, just burn him up. Just burn him up. Wait till the sun comes out and then burn him up. But that would be pretty. But yeah, I remember those things because they were still. I think it was early 2000s that I still saw one of those TVs because I mean, how technology is. They use like the Betamax, and then it's like the VCR or the VHS, and then you had like Laserdisc, and then you had DVD, then you have Blu-ray, which you still have Blu-ray, and now you have
or the HD. There was always battles too. The VHS, I don't remember what UHS, VHS, battle, VHS 1. Yeah. And then you got to the Blu-rays, and it was HD, DVD. I can't even remember what they were called.
Yeah.
Those little battles. Yeah.
Neither can I have too much force in the house. What? Too much force in the house? I'm wondering if she's asking you. I don't know if he has too much force in the house. I would say it's a fart in the house, but that's a totally different subject. So you don't want to be there when that happens.
I don't know if they're talking about actually having my entire house is decorated in Star Wars. Actually, so my wife is a Star Wars fan. Oh, okay. I hit the jackpot that way. She's a Star Wars fan. She's a metalhead like I am.
Yeah.
So nice. We got Metallica stuff everywhere and Star Wars stuff everywhere.
So there's a lot of head banging, is what you're saying. You turn on the song, you're just like,
oh yeah.
And then then she gets rip roaring with the deep voice, and then I came the sun. Honey, you should take a lozenge for that. That sounds deep. And then I said,
I actually did a Hetfield impression of Harvard one time, and that went over pretty well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's good. If you can do it, just remember, if you stretch your throat out too much, it will be paying it in the morning, because
yeah.
So
I've never been much of a vocal person. I was always into instruments. I was a band geek in high school. Yeah.
So you're like this one time at band camp.
That band, yep, that's me. I played five different instruments in the 4 years I was in high school.
Oh, what were the instruments though?
I started out on saxophone my freshman year. I played trumpet my sophomore year this was marching band.
Right.
And then I played trombone in jazz band. I played French horn in concert band. And then I hated this one. The band director knew I switched instruments a lot, so he said, "Hey, we need a bass clarinet for concert band." So I played that 1 year.
Wow.
And I played drums too. I had drum sets and stuff for a few years.
So it's mostly winded instruments, I think they call them, or air.
Yep.
Yeah, which is a difficulty in its own right, because you could be doing it and you're like passing out sort of scenario if you're not too careful.
Seen it? I've seen it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there was a kid I went to school with. It was my sophomore year. He was a baritone player. He was in the band room trying to play really high notes on a baritone, and he actually had a brain aneurysm. I was standing like 3 feet from him when it happened. He was trying to play super high, and we just watched him drop to the ground. And we went and got the band director and told him, "Dude, something's wrong with Sanjeev." They called the ambulance, and it turned out he had a blood vessel popped in his brain. It was crazy.
Wow. Did he live at least, or?
Yeah. No. Yeah, he did.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, that. Wow, that.
It made me. And as a trumpet player, we play high. It made me scared to try. I was like, I don't want to have a brain aneurysm.
So like
maybe I won't play high notes anymore.
Sort of like that thing from South Park where they're trying to play that brown note, and they're trying to. I don't know if you've ever seen South Park, but there's one episode where the kids all go to some thing, and it's a different schools coming together, and Cartman's trying to learn how to. Hey, Barbie, how are you doing? And Cartman's trying to learn how to play this mysterious brown note, which makes everyone poo. Oh, there he is. He's back. And so he gets successful at the end, and everyone, all the kids, they all play the note, and they just. I was like, God dang it!
I have seen that one. It's been a long time since I saw that one. I was living in Fresno when I saw that episode, actually.
Oh, wow. So you do and I saw it wasn't that one. I think it was a Truth Social one, but it's like you actually live in California, so because you call it California, so.
Yep. In Oakdale, California. It's about I'd say 20 minutes northeast of Modesto, and everyone knows Modesto. Scott Peterson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Modesto, yeah. Oh, well, I mean, how far are you away from the was it Palisades? I think it was where the fires were at. I think so.
Oh, that's 5 hours south of me.
So you're way too far away. So you guys weren't affected by that at all.
Yeah, no, we're Central California. So I'm about 98 miles from San Francisco.
Okay.
San Francisco. That's what I call it. Sorry.
If you took down the
I used to love that place.
Yeah. If you took down the bridge, they have no way out. And so it'd be like, what is that one movie with Kurt Russell?
Escape from New York.
Escape from New York. But I think they did another one too, didn't they? It was like Escape from LA. Yeah, that's right. Escape from LA was the other one.
The second one, yeah.
The second one. But yeah, I do have a family member who lives out in Long Beach out there. And so that's, I don't know how far away that is from where you're at, but no, I know there's that.
It's about the same. LA, Long Beach, SoCal is about 5 hours from us.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. So, but yeah, it's, I know when the thing of the, when the governor was like, what was it, the recall or something like that had happened, and he still got to stay. I can't imagine that there were a lot of people who were like, well, this just bites the dust on this one. But yeah,
I don't believe that for a second. That dude got recalled. Living here, talking to people, he got recalled. That was dirty.
Yeah. Well, obviously it was a super majority in California, but I mean that's like
Yep.
years and years. And I guess in a way, Ronald Reagan was right. The commies were coming for Hollywood, and they ended up getting California. So there's that.
Yep, they got it.
And then they said, you know what? Just leave that old man's ranch alone. Um, but yeah, I've personally never been out to California. There's that. Oh, so there's a YouTuber I haven't checked up on, but there's a guy. He owns the Cerro Gordo mines, or I think it was like a city at one point, Cerro Gordo, and well, he doesn't own it. So the story is that there's this gentleman and a bunch of other investors that bought a plot of land, the Cerro Gordo area, where all the mines and stuff used to be, like the gold rush back in the day and silver rush and all that stuff. And so he and a bunch of investors bought that ghost towny area, and he's been living there for I don't for a few years. In fact, it used to be just a caretaker, and then something happened, and he went up there to kind of whatever. So I can't remember his name, but he's been. I think at this point they were building like the American Hotel is what it was called, because the previous one had burnt down, and so they've been. And it's tough to get equipment up there, right? It's like high altitude. It's just plain dirt road. There's what?
I think I've seen a video on this actually. What you're describing. I think I've seen a YouTube video about this guy that lives up there.
Yeah. Sarah, I don't know where that is exactly for. I know it's in California, and it's way out.
It's SoCal in the desert, kind of.
Yeah, desert. Because I think he said like on the other side of the mountain is Death Valley. So he's like, there's where he's at, and he's on the other side is Death Valley. And I thought that was just funny. He's like, well, not too far away. But yeah, they've been stuff like they've had trucks and stuff had to go up there and get stuck because the road is just dirt and rocks. And I don't know what the cost would be to even try to build a road to go up there. But I mean, they've had washouts. I mean, there's been times like there's been washouts and they've had to dig the road out again. It's insane for what he has to do to get stuff up there. But I mean, it's interesting that with a bunch of people, he was able to buy a ghost town and make it sort of like a tourist sort of thing, right? Because I think that's what he wants to do is make a tourist town. And
I'd go there. I love that kind of stuff. I'd go there.
Well, yeah, and I believe he owns mining rights too. So the guy has gone into these mines there. Now, of course, you have to be careful with it. Obviously, don't be a dummy. Don't go into holes that are open. You know, if there's a hole that's open and it looks like it goes in the cave, don't be an idiot and go in there. Stay out.
Yeah, that are from the 1800s. Yeah, it's probably not a good idea.
Oh, look, there's a hole. Scooby, let's go in there. Like, gee, Scoops, there's a hole over here. We gotta go inside. Oh goodness, yeah. and they were never seen again. No, it's been interesting because I think it is silver. Yeah, because he talks about galena. I think is the term for it. Galena is what the thing is. It is, and it's like silver in there, raw silver. And there's some other stuff too that they dug for, but yeah, he has the mining rights for that and all this stuff, and it's just insane that somebody can buy a ghost town and try to make it some sort of thing. But I mean, and I'm looking at sort of stuff like ghost towns, like there's ghost towns all over the United States. It's just how you find them and stuff. It's just interesting on that regard.
And most of them are just abandoned. They're just sitting out in the middle of nowhere, rotting. So it takes people like that to try to restore it.
Yeah.
You think that the state, especially with the gold rush, that's a huge piece of our history.
Yeah.
You think that the state would take more interest and take care of these places, but there's a lot of them that they don't. They're just sitting there rotting.
Yeah. Well, it's California.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah, it is sad because history gets lost to just time and weather and erosion and all this stuff. But I mean, it's the same thing with like, you know, not even California, but other states too, where they have abandoned cities, you know, and all that stuff. Where just and it's a funny thing where, you know, people may think about living in cities, which is understandable, right? Because if something happens, you want to be close to the city, like medical or whatever. But when you're talking about like how people and their inference of government or whatever, or state or federal, whatever, living out in those places would probably be more preferable to them, because at least they're not too inferred by governance and whatnot. Especially if you buy a ghost town, that's a whole nother ball game. But I don't know how those rules work.
Yeah.
Let's just make it like the old times with saloons, and if you murder someone, well, the sheriff's gonna come for you. But yeah, that'd be interesting. But no, it's just an interesting to learn about that stuff. Like, you have abandoned towns, you have towns that have very small amounts of people, like maybe a thousand or less or whatever. And I think someone was mentioning, because I know a few people out there. I know, again, I had a family member out there. I've had people on from California that are out there. And all that stuff. And it's just an interesting faction of, because I'm in Indiana, so that's quite a ways away from where you're at. That's how eastern
Yeah.
and central and all that stuff.
I've
And
actually visited Indiana. One of my relatives lived in Indiana.
yeah, well, you're
I
lucky.
saw thunderstorms that I'd never seen anything like it in my life. When I went to,
Really?
I was a little kid, and it
Mhm.
scared the crap out of me. I was like, "What? Is it the end of the world?"
Well, it
The
is. If
lightning.
you, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I said it is if you get struck by lightning.
But it was the first time in my life I had actually seen a lightning bug.
Oh,
It was
wow.
great. Yeah, it was a pretty cool trip.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, because that's an interesting faction of where you can come from a different state, and going to another state can change your whole perspective. Like, because I've spoken to people from Alaska, and that's part of the United States. Even though it seems like the president is wanting to go for Canada now for a 51st state, so that should be interesting. It's
See
like,
what happens.
it's one of those things. If you can't beat them, well, you buy them. You buy them
Canada.
out.
Yeah. Canada, Greenland, we're coming for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that'd be interesting. What do you? So, just on that hypotheticalness, because we don't, it's really just talk at this point, right? We don't really know if it'll happen or not. It's just, it could be negotiation, it could be talk. So, what do you think that would look like if, say, the United States did end up buying Canada, or some weird system thing happened that they were able to get Canada? What do you think that would look like in the sense of growing a United States, basically?
It's so hard to say
Mm,
because there's so many mixed messages.
mm,
All we hear from the media on our side
mm,
is all the Canadians that don't want to be part of the U.S.
mm,
What they don't mention, which is funny because
mm.
they don't tell us anything either. Our
Right.
media. There's actually more Canadians that are totally down with that idea,
Mm,
and I guess there's Trudeau stepped down and there's
yeah.
elections coming up, and it's looking like that the right leaning candidate is actually leading.
Right. Um.
So
Mm,
but that I'm cool with it. I'd be
mm,
cool with it.
mm.
Then I wouldn't have to keep calling them the apartment above the really cool party. They could actually be part of the party.
Yeah. Well, and on the hypotheticalness of it, I mean, it would allow for us not to need a passport, obviously. So you'd obviously get rid of that. Where if it's part of the United States, no more passport. Same with Greenland, right? Right. If Greenland was a thing, you you wouldn't have to use a passport, which would be great. Finally, I can go to Canada and see the Niagara Falls, and I don't need a passport. Suck it, you canute. But that would also mean we would have the ability to be connected to Alaska whole, right?
Yep.
Because Alaska's right now, as it sits, is separate by itself. And of course, there's, as what I've heard, not true of it, but like Canada is not really, as they say, is not really hospitable to farming. I guess there's only a certain part of it that's farming.
Not much. Yeah.
But I mean, there's still more to it that could be used. I mean, if they look for it. I mean, it's just, you know that majority of people who live in Canada live on the borderline, basically.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
And it's a weird thing for that. But I mean, it makes sense if you can't, because of the cold, extreme cold and stuff. But I mean, if you could do like big, huge greenhouses or something in the ground, I mean, I'm sure there could be something of fruition. But it would, for me, you wouldn't have to use a passport to go in. The Alaska would finally be connected to the whole of the United States, or the lower 48 is what they call it, and Hawaii would be left out unless you build a really long bridge, which I don't think is going to happen. That would be interesting. Like, so how long is that bridge? Oh, it's about a couple days.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a
Yeah.
good idea. I don't know if that's a good idea. But
Yeah,
yeah,
Hawaii, they're their own thing. I actually have an aunt that lives in Hawaii. They
wow.
barely survived that whole Lahaina fire. Actually, their house
Oh, that's right.
narrowly missed getting burned down.
Oh, the Maui thing? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, Lahaina. Yep. I have yeah. It was an aunt that lived in the Bay Area in Cupertino. They actually had a HVAC business. It was called Weigel Mechanical, and they serviced. It was kind of a cool part of my life because he serviced Moffett Field, and Moffett Field is surrounded by all the skunk works companies, Lockheed Martin.
Oh, okay.
So he did all the air conditioning and stuff for all of these skunk works type companies, the aerospace engineering companies. So we always had tickets to Blue Angels. I went to Blue Angels shows every single year on family day. So there was no crowd. It was just a handful of people. But they sold their business and their house for, I don't even know. It had to have been at least $10 million. And they just packed up and moved to Maui.
Wow.
And then, so when that whole fire happened, I was on the phone with my mom, like, are they cool? Did their house make it?
Wow. That's pretty, well, that's grateful, but yeah, that's just, it's just one of those things where it's still an unsolved mystery, where it's not been talked on or touched on. And,
it disappeared.
Like a ghost, like a fart in the wind. It just disappeared.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, you can still get a whiff of the entrails, but sooner or later the air just clears it right up. But yeah, for the Canada thing, it would certainly open a lot of doors for a lot of different people, especially for people who want to visit Canada and maybe build their like in Alaska, right, where some people build their homes out on the ruggedness and then survive on their own sort of thing. You could have people who do that with Alaska, depending on. But I mean, it's a door of possibilities, but it's this weird thing where will it happen or won't it happen? Because that's a whole lot of stuff the government has to go through for it to happen, right? Congress and all that stuff, and it's just like, well, it's sort of like trying to have Congress convene for a convention. Yeah, it's most likely not going to happen, but we don't know.
When it happened, I kind of thought the gist I got from it was it was Trump doing what he does and just punking Trudeau. I don't think he really meant it. He was just, hey, you'd be better off as the 51st state than you are under this POS. That's how it came across to me. Like he was just punking him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's out sort of now, so I mean, there's that. But
yeah, it's funny. What, he announced that 3 months ago? Then stepped down. Why did he hang around? I thought that was weird too.
Look,
if you're gonna step down, then step down. Peace out.
Yeah. Well, he's like that lingering fart, and there's no wind. He's just he's like
just all up in your nostrils.
Oh, he's the fart that when grandma passes you by, you better hope and pray it's not you. You better hope and pray she doesn't drop it by you. It's not crop dusting anymore. It's like a fog. It's gonna linger for a while.
It's like it's like the Fukushima of gas.
Oh, smells very bad. I give that a 5.0. Oh man, but no, it does feel like that. It feels like he's a lingering smoke that just won't leave. Especially, and you remember what happened? I think it was like last year, whatever, when that the Canadian fire was happening, and you had all that stuff come over us, and it was just haze over so many days. It was just like, ugh.
Over how many states? That was over a ton of states.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, and you could smell it, and you could just smell it for days on end. The burning of the whatever it was. But yeah, it'll be interesting if there's a follow through or not, because that would, I don't, there's an argument between making it a territory and making it another state, which I don't even know how that would work. And then you have Greenland, which would be in the same kind of categorization of territory or state sort of thing, because again, it's all talk at this point, right? It's all
Yep.
negotiable at this point. And it's just an interesting thing to kind of look at and said, I could see the possibilities if Canada joined us and was now part of us, because then we wouldn't, it'd be, we'd have all of that, and then Mexico would be its own, and then we could do whatever with the spaces, and try to find if there's resources or not. I mean, you never know. You never know. It's possibilities within the mystery, right? That's what they probably
Yes.
thought. That's what they probably thought of Alaska, right? When Alaska was purchased from Russia or whatever.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and because I had a gentleman on, Alaska man Jeff, pretty cool dude, and they tell stories of like people who originally owned it, like the Russians, they really didn't go in it deep enough, and then there was, of course, there was a gold rush there during a point of time, and now a majority of it is just oil, right? It's just oil because the whole thing with the president opening up leasing and all that stuff for more oil from Alaska and Texas too. There's that whole thing down in the not Gulf of Mexico anymore. It's the Gulf of America.
Gulf of America.
That's the Gulf of America, right?
Why are people losing their minds over that? The change. Why are people losing their minds over the name change? I don't get that.
Well, and I think I heard some said it's gone through so many name changes over hundreds of years. It's like what's the point, right? Like we're not calling
Does
it
it really matter?
Yeah, we're not calling that the Gulf of Roses anymore or anything like that. It's not like, what would you call it that? But I mean, it's a weird
You
thing.
live in America. That's what I don't get. You live in America. It's called the Gulf of America. Are you not? It's like a person getting on a plane. You want that pilot to be good, right? I don't understand the mentality of getting upset about something when it's pro the country you live in.
Well,
what you want this? You want this plane to crash? What are you, stupid?
Well, the only example I can come up with is when Pluto was no longer considered a planet, right? You remember?
It's a planet.
Everyone was upset, especially now, right? The science community said we would like to say that our definitions had to be redefined, and Pluto's no longer a planet, and everyone just threw down their stuff like "F you all you."
Exactly. When that happened, I was like, "You can call it whatever you want. It's planet." That's how I grew up. Sorry,
look, you don't
diss.
You don't diss Mickey's dog like that. You better take it back.
Exactly.
But I mean, that's the only thing I can compare it to. Is it's probably sort of like that, where you've had it around for so long, as it's in the state of what it was, and then somebody comes and says, no, it's gonna change. I'm sorry. And then people are just like, yeah, I like it. And some people are like, I don't want to live this life anymore. What is life? It's sort of like that. But
it's just a name.
It's just a name. The planet, the Pluto will still be here long after we're gone, and so will the Gulf of America. You gotta say it like that because of what was it? What was that one movie, the Team America or something like that? America, F yeah.
Yeah. I have that DVD in the house.
Saving America.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, it's I understand both points because I can see where possibly that other side is coming from, but it does get ridiculous when you boil it down, right? Like when you just boil it down to what it is, it's just a name. It's gonna change. Yeah, 100 years from now,
there's far more important stuff to worry about than a freaking name. Yep.
Yeah. They're like 100 years from now, it's not even going to matter. You're going to be dead. It's going to be changed to something else. What's it going to matter to you, right? You're here now. Just enjoy it. Pluto is probably going to be called Bumpkin Planet at some point, down the line. It is what it is. But yeah, again, I can understand on both ends, but it's just, as you stated, it just becomes a pointless endeavor when there's more important matters like what's going on, with was it Doge? I think they call it Doge.
Is the gold still in Fort Knox? That kind of stuff. Yeah.
Hey, I saw that James Bond movie, and yes, it is. Unless that was just movie props, and no, that was.
I actually just saw a post earlier today I guess Elon's planning on going to Fort Knox, and he said he's going to be live streaming to show whether the gold is still there.
Mm. And then he'd be like, wait a second, that doesn't look like gold. Taste it first.
Yeah, bite it.
Is it real gold or is it the gold coin? Is it a chocolate gold coin? just imagine he goes there and he sees a gold bar, right? It's like, this looks like it'd be real. And then it starts to unwrap. It's like, wait a second.
You just peel it. Yeah.
You just peel it back. It's just like a big chocolate bar. It's like, oh, you guys. It's like, you guys, you got me good for this one. Oh man, because I have seen some candy stores sell something like that, where they sell this like big golden bar. It's like a cardboard, whatever. It's a big golden bar, and then inside is like this big chocolate golden bar, but it's just shaped in the bar of gold, sort of thing, not actual gold.
Wrapped in tin foil or like gold foil, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, wait a second, because gold would be much more expensive to buy, and it's not that. But I just think that's funny. It's like he just goes like, wait a second, guys, is Ashton Kutcher here? Is this punked?
Yeah. I gotta be honest with you, I'm super curious to see if it's there, because I've been seeing for years, probably a decade or so, people who live close to Fort Knox saying that they didn't believe that there was gold there because there was no guards.
Yeah, well, it's sort of like Fort Knox feels like just throughout history, because Fort Knox has been named for many things. Like I said, the James Bond movie and some other ones. But Fort Knox feels like Area 51. At a certain point, the original intention is lost to time or obscured, and people come back and says, yeah, man, that's where they keep aliens at, man. They're trying to do surgeries and stuff on us, man. It's in the 51, man. And it's like, and Knox, man. In Knox, there's no gold, man. It's all human organs. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But who knows? At this point, it's sort of like up in the air until you get to go in. And who knows if you'll be able to get in, because of you have to be like high level. And I wonder if he does go, he'll have to get like some signed paper from the president that says, nah, boo boo, let me in, that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I'm sure all that clearance stuff will be worked out before he goes. But
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I'm curious to see because we've been told for decades and decades that that's where America's gold reserve was. So I'd love to see it.
Yeah, it probably would be the most watched stream ever if it did happen. It'd be like, and here's the bathroom, guys. Right over here's the bathroom. Right there.
Yeah.
It's not even
still no gold.
Yeah, still no gold. This one looks like someone really let loose a bean burrito. We want to stay with that one. Oh my goodness. But yeah, who knows? It's all up in the air. It's all just conjecture and conspiracy and hyperbole and all this other stuff. It's really just any man's guess. You could flip a quarter at this point and be like, will it be filled with gold or will it be not? And you take that as like it's heads and snow. It's like, all right, there's no gold there. And then you'd be surprised. Oh, look at that.
And even when we get the answer, do I believe it? That's how bad the society's gotten. I don't even know if I believe anything I hear anymore. So if they tell me no, it's not there, I'm like, are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't believe nothing anymore. I'm just here for the ride.
Yeah. All the fires were conspiracy, man. Everything's a conspiracy. All that stuff. Yeah, I can understand it though, because you've been, with what the news was saying about all the Doge stuff and all that, right? Where the U.S. was it U.S. aid or Assad or whatever it is, and all they uncovered in that, right? Like they just uncovered all these different things in it, and it's just like people knew that the government was frauding them, but when they finally got to see it, they're like, how they frauded them was the one point they didn't know, right? They knew it, but they didn't see it, or they didn't know until they saw it, and then they saw it, and it's just like all this stuff is just pointless endeavors. And they're still cutting, I think. There's many different departments that are still cutting or slashing. I don't know what you call it.
I heard he's supposed to fire a bunch of IRS agents tomorrow. I read that earlier today.
It still won't change you doing your taxes for last year, though, kids. You still have to do your taxes for last year. Maybe next year, but not this year.
Mine are done.
Mine,
I'm good. Mine are done.
I wish mine were done. I'm still waiting on because I'm not monetized in YouTube, so it is what it is. But I'm monetized in Rumble because you're monetized day one. And I made over the 600 that they say, that sort of thing. So I'm still waiting on my tax document or whatever they're supposed to get you from that. So, and I haven't heard back. Hey, Rumble Quacker, nice to see you. So we'll see if I get it back. I'm
Well,
hoping.
they've got. And I
Huh?
said they got a deadline. They got a deadline, so they better get on
Yeah, I filled out all the paperwork they wanted me to fill out. I even did it with the heart at the end. It's like, please give me my stuff, because
it.
because I work a full-time job too, so this is sort of like a bonus thing to me. Because again, I get the main point is the conversational part, and everything else is a bonus. But yeah, so there's that. But yeah, it's just I was surprised myself, and so we'll see what happens. But yeah, taxes are going to be a little weird this year. But I mean, again, I have a full-time job, so I've through that job I've set aside money through them and all that other stuff. So hopefully that'll help pay off. And I've been saving money this side too. When I used to do Lyft, if you know what Lyft is.
Yeah, yeah.
Or people don't know, Lyft is a like Uber, that sort of thing. But when I did Lyft, it was sort of like you're self-employed, even though you're contracted, whatever. And so for me, I would always save half of the total of what I made because they say like you have to do like 30% or something like that. And I was like, that's too much. I just do half and that'll be fine. And that way it saves you from like getting into trouble, whatever. Because no one wants to deal with the IRS coming to your door and saying, so look, we need to audit you. Dang it. Ugh.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just one of those things where I think people with what they're doing now, if it affects next year for the greater, great. But if not, people are still going to have to treat as before for last year because I've never seen them change that before. Where like you change stuff for last year or change stuff this year and it affects last year and you don't have to do last year's stuff. No, it usually is the next year. Just like all the daylight savings talk they've been talking about. I haven't seen anything of that yet. I'm waiting.
Yeah, that got quiet. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, let's not have that anymore. And then nothing. And
I wish they'd say something because I'm done with it. I'm so over it. They need to end that crap.
Yeah, I mean it was made at a time where the light bulb wasn't invented yet.
Exactly. I was gonna say with all the tech and all of the bars people have on their trucks and LEDs, why are we still doing this?
Yeah. We're doing it for funsies now is what it feels like.
It's not fun.
No.
How is this fun?
I don't want to.
I hate the time change.
Yeah, I don't want to keep changing my time every time when it springs forward. I'm like, I hope it's a weekend because otherwise it'll feel like a dread on Monday. Ugh.
Yep.
I hate when that happens.
But sucks.
Yeah, it does. It's like you wait. It's like you feel like a dead man waking up. Like, no more. But yeah, we'll see about that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting the next 4 years. But I think a lot of it's going to have to be starting to go through Congress because, and as far as I understand it, EOs can just be written off by the next administration. So, unless you have President Vance or whatever like that, you're going to have to start having it codified by Congress, which is how that stuff works. And so
that's correct, and that's exactly what happened with Trump. He undid a whole bunch of Biden's EOs, so they don't hold weight. They don't hold weight. Like they sound great, but they don't hold any weight. So
they sound like that post-it note where it says it's like having a post-it note, and you have an old post-it note that says this is the rule of the law of the land, and then someone just takes down that post-it note and put another one over that says It was just that easy. That's what it is. It's just a post-it note until someone else takes it down. Which is why that's what those are. Those are all the Rumble rants I've gotten from my Rumble side. But someone told me I needed a colorful wall, so I found a way. Because life always yeah. It's basically like it's the whole wall right there. Like that's the whole of it. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting time. I think a lot of people are either gonna be happy or upset because there's never gonna be 100%. There's never gonna be 100% done the way you want it. because there's all these little. So think of it this way, right? Think of the government as like this big ball of yarn, but it's not one color, it's multicolored, and there's some frayed ones, some damaged ones, and all this stuff, and you're trying to unravel it to make it look clean. That's a story for another time. Hey, Bill, how you doing? That's a story that's just that's a task that even I don't know. Man, kudos for Trump if he does it, but I don't think it's going to be done within 4 years. And Doge is showing us why, to some degree, why it's kind of difficult, because you have all these people. Who,
Unelected bureaucracy, yeah, it's
yeah,
everywhere.
is this weird thing, and but yeah, it's something. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm interested to say the least, because you have how should I put it? You have smart people trying to right the wrongs that a lot of dumb people made. And they are
Yep.
dumb people. I mean, honestly, if you're going to spend that much money and keep spending that much money, you must be dumb. But what do I know? I'm just here doing this thing. But yeah, but I mean, for you guys, just being California though, that's you're like one step away from hell, basically. You know, I mean, not saying like Death Valley. I mean, Death Valley is there, so I mean, you could consider that.
Yeah, yeah.
You
No,
consider like,
politically, no, you're right. I mean,
yeah,
I'm lucky. I grew up in the Bay Area. I lived in the South Bay, so I grew
right.
up in the Mountain View. I was born in Mountain View Hospital.
Oh, okay.
Lived in Campbell, San Jose area,
Mm.
and we moved to the Central Valley in 1989. And it was my 7th grade year going into 8th grade.
Wow.
So I've seen the changes in the state. It's nothing like it used to be. It's being destroyed.
Mm.
My wife and I had actually been looking at moving. We have decided against that. My daughter is in high school, and I don't want to do that to her.
Yeah.
Move her, she's a freshman in high school right now. I don't want to move her to Kentucky or something.
Yeah.
A year into high school. That's not cool. I had to do that.
Yeah.
Have all these friends up until I was in 8th grade, and then for the 4 more years of school, I knew nobody until I got into band. Anyways, band was where I made all my friends.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do that to her. But yeah, California it sucks, dude. I'm not going to lie, it sucks. I got lucky. We did move into what's considered kind of a conservative area. Oakdale's very red.
Yeah.
So I'm not surrounded by the San Francisco type people. They're moving here. Their houses are getting too expensive, and they're moving here. But
yeah. Well, and I think I've heard stories where they're moving to Texas too, right? Because I know some people move from California, but I mean, and just Kentucky, Tennessee, all that stuff. There's a lot of different places that people are moving away from California, and the sad part about it is that you never know if they're going to bring some of that with them, right?
And they are, and it's proven out in Texas, in Austin, and San Antonio. Those used to be red, very strong red areas, and so many of our dummies moved there and kept voting the way they did, and now it's what you call purple, almost blue.
Yeah.
So it's proven out. These people don't move to these places and change how they see things. They keep voting the way they did here. Well, which makes no sense to me. You're fleeing this place because it sucks.
Yeah.
You can't put 2 and 2 together and figure out why it sucks.
Probably why they couldn't figure it out the first time around. But you it's like what's that meme with Gordon Ramsay where he has like the 2 pieces of bread. What are you? I'm an idiot sandwich. What are you?
Yeah.
I can't do a good accent of that. But anyway, it is the top of the hour, or power hour as I call it. And so what happens is that whenever a guest on, and usually some guests don't have anything, so it's fine if you don't. Usually what I do is I set aside some time to for self-promotion, right? Because, sometimes the guests I have on, they have their own stuff to make and all that. But I did post your like Twitter link and True Social, so that is down there. But I mean, if you want to promote something or whatever, the floor is yours. But if you don't, that's fine.
Like you said, I wouldn't say a content creator. The thing that kind of, it was a fluke,
Mhm.
wasn't planned.
Uh-oh, I think his phone froze up. Hold on.
They're working.
Yeah, no, you. Oh, yeah, you just froze up a
Working?
bit. Yeah, you're froze
Okay.
up. Here you go.
So what I was going to say is the only thing I'd even mention, it's not really, I wouldn't consider it content. Maybe it is because it's starting to gain a foothold too. It was an accident. We have some stray cats that we feed. We're animal people.
Oh yeah.
And we had a stray cat, and he actually isn't. He comes in sometimes now. But we put food out here for him on the porch,
Yeah.
and we forgot it one night, and a bunch of raccoons showed up.
Yeah, I've been seeing that.
And it turned into a thing.
Yeah.
And now they come every single night. It's very rare that they don't come. They're here almost every single night. So that's the only thing. As strictly, it's not even content. Strictly as, because I keep seeing this phrase, people are thanking me for posting it because it's a timeline cleanse. So if you're sick and tired of seeing all the bad news and all that stuff, come to my page around 7 o'clock at night is usually when they show up. 6:37, and they let it. One of them, its name's Rocket.
Yeah,
that's what we named it.
Yeah.
actually lets me pet it.
Oh wow.
It's gotten in my wife's lap, plays with her hair, smells her hair.
Yeah.
So other than that, I don't create anything. I just kind of film my life, our raccoons.
Yeah.
But it's growing. It started out with like 10 people, and now there's about 100 people that come to my page.
Yeah.
All at around 7 every night, waiting. Like, where's the raccoons?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's been pretty interesting. Now, yeah, because you always have to be careful of wild animals, obviously. But it's a weird thing because I've seen people own raccoons as pets before, which has been a weird thing to see. I've never,
if you have livestock other than, if you have chickens and stuff, they're a problem.
Yeah.
We don't have that out here, so they're not an issue for me. But I think they get a bad rap like pit bulls do, quite frankly. Because I mean, the other ones in the family they're a little wary. They're not like Rocket. Rocket's an extremely unique animal. The trust that it has in us is, I wasn't expecting it. But the other ones are starting to let me pet them. They're getting closer and closer every night. So I think they get a bad rap, honestly, like pit bulls do. I really do.
Yeah, that's understandable.
And I've always been like this since I was a little kid. I've always just been an animal person. We used to go to Pismo Beach, kind of down in between Monterey and Santa Cruz when I was a kid, and there were wild horses that were there.
Yeah,
and I would just walk up to them, and they'd come over and sniff me. My parents were just like, "What is happening right now?" I've always been like this with animals. I don't know what it is. Dr. Doolittle, I've been called that before.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'd just wait for you to speak to the animals, like, speak to a dolphin or something like that. That'd be.
Speaking of which, I'm on the porch as I was saying this. George, one of our strays, just walked by.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. But yeah, so again, I've posted your Twitter, X, and your True Social. So if people want to check out the Darth Dad, the links are down there, so you can go check him out. He doesn't look very dark though. I think he looks fine. But
it's because I don't have my robe on. I actually have a Darth Vader robe. I actually toyed with putting it on. But I'm just a big old Star Wars band geek that picked.
There you go.
Darth Vader as my
Because this one time at space camp,
and band camp,
and band camp. Well, I mean, combining both band camp and space, space. There you go. But anyway, for my end of things, whether you're on the Rumble side or whether you're on the YouTube side, I'm not gonna bring it up. If you wouldn't mind leaving a like, sharing the content, leaving a comment or follow, anything that helps with the engagement factor is much appreciated. Because again, it helps with being seen more, like all creators want to, but it also helps in having other people on, like Darth Dad, like Malay K, like so many other people I've had on, and it's been a fantastic time of just getting to talk to people about whatever and seeing where it goes, because a lot of people do structured stuff. I don't do structured stuff very much, and it's been interesting to just be on this slow, lazy river of a conversation. So there's that. But any help with the engagement factor on either Rumble or YouTube is much appreciated. And of course, I have a link down below. If you want to see where else I'm at, you can click that link. It's like a link tree. You can see all my links there. Also, there's like my Twitter X is in there, my email's in there, like Discord just for DMing though. But if you'd like to take the opportunity to come on yourself, and I do this every time, you can go down to the comic section and leave something there, or you can go to the link down below and follow through with that. I've only had one person do that, and it was a Canadian. But he was an all right guy. He was a good guy. He does business with the U.S. because he's a cabinet maker, so he does business. But again, any help with the engagement and link down below, I appreciate you all. And we'll go on for a little longer because I don't know. What it's like five. It's like a 5-year time. Goodness, she's. I wish it was the light here.
Yeah, it's 5:08. Yep.
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna be grateful when it stays light a little longer, because this snow, man. Oh goodness, we had it was like last week. There was like some happened over the weekend. It was warm enough to rain, but I got cold overnight. So you had freezing rain.
It's turned to ice.
And yeah, it was so bad that any surface outside was pretty much, you better hope and pray you're holding on to something. That's how bad it was. Because I did slid. It's healed up now, but I hit my arm here and it bruised up a bit. But yeah, it was not a fun time. I actually had to call off on that day because it was not the greatest. Once you slip and fall, it's like, I'm done for the day. I think I need to go back inside.
Especially the older you get.
Yeah. No one wants to slide across the ice and dislocate a hip. It's not the way to do it. Grandpa, you all right? Oh, I can't feel my hip.
You mind if I take a second? I'm gonna go use the restroom real quick. Sorry, man.
No, you're all right.
I'll be right back. All right.
But all right, I'm gonna mute him on his thing because I can hear stuff. But anyway, but yeah, it's not a fun when you get older and then you start sliding. I mean, ice skating's all right, but you always have to be careful with that too. You know, you see people holding their heads like, please let me live. Or roller skating rink. You know, all that stuff. So there's that. But everyone, how are you doing tonight? I hope you're all doing well. Oh, that's right. I do have something now. If you are a user of Rumble or a creator on Rumble or whatever, I am running a survey trying to find data on what the majority of people have issue with Rumble, wishlist stuff, all that. And it ends tomorrow at midnight. So if you've ever used Rumble before, I'm putting a link in the chat, and that link leads to the survey. I don't know about people on YouTube. I don't know if anyone over there has used Rumble or not. So I'll just keep it over in the Rumble side. But if you use Rumble or anything like that, there's all that stuff. So go ahead and check it out. And I'm trying to collect enough data as is. All you have to do is unmute yourself. I had to mute you because of the noises. So there you go. All right, you should be good. But yeah, it's I was talking about ice skating, right? When you see some people ice skating and they're trying to hold on to the wall and all that stuff, and it's not a fun time. Or you see people on rotors. Oh, he's coming back. Hold on. His screen is dark. I can still hear you. I just can't see you. There he goes. There, he's back now. Look at him. That beard.
Sorry.
No, you're all right. It's like that beard knows that he's returned, and he's like, I am that guy.
I shouldn't have drank a whole bottle of water before I came on.
Hey, I've been there right with you because I was on a stream with somebody else, someone who I've had on before, and we were doing a sort of D&D sort of like thing, and I'm trying to get better. I drink doing healthier because I do drink pop, which is not that great for you, but I've been trying to do like a prebiotic soda, trying to switch to that, and it's still difficult. But when I do these streams, I do try to drink water, but it does start running through you when you drink too much. You're like, okay, I need to
Yeah.
hurry up and get going. Oh Lord. But yeah, I've been there before. It's not fun, but it's kind of necessary when you're trying to get past all the bad stuff. So and that's going to be an interesting thing too with RFK as the head of
RFK,
Yep,
Maha.
yep.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting with that because there are a lot of people who are like, you know what, the government should, as I've heard some people say, the government should be involved in trying to block all this stuff or whatever. It's up to you to be responsible for your stuff, but then there's the opposite of that. Yeah,
And
there's
see,
the opposite.
and I'm not a government get involved kind of guy, but there's a
Yeah,
lot of stuff that's been allowed into our food that
yeah,
never should have been allowed. The
yeah,
FDA, I don't trust them. Like
yeah,
the red stuff that they're banning in California, I actually don't have a problem with that because there's a lot of this stuff that actually causes like autoimmune diseases and stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with what he's doing because there's some bad stuff in our food that
yeah.
isn't allowed in other countries.
Yeah, yeah, and that's understandable. There, I think it was what was it like? Someone had said like Red 3, I think was taken out.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. There's
If
still
you
more.
want to eat healthy, and
Mm,
I've learned this because of what I did for a living.
yeah.
I was a salesman for Frito-Lay, Kellogg's, and
Oh,
Nabisco
yeah,
over the years.
yeah,
Don't eat their stuff. That's what I learned. The stuff I sold is terrible for you. If you want to eat healthy, shop the perimeter of the store.
yeah,
All the aisles down the middle, I mean, besides like coffee and there's some things down the middle that are okay,
yeah,
but the middle of the store, all the aisles are usually the stuff that's no bueno.
yeah. There's an app I use called Yuka YUKA, and what it does is you can scan the barcode, or you sorry the barcode of any food item, and the it will give you like a thing back on the stuff. So 1 second, I want to try to find it. There it is. So this so that orange carrot right there that you see on screen, that is yuca. And so what it is, you can go into it and you can scan a whole bunch of different food items. If you can see that, you can scan a whole bunch of different food items and it'll give you like a grade or
Yeah.
whatever. And so where I gotta find it, there was, and even it does body wash and stuff like that too, like just for shampoo and whatnot. And there was, I'm trying to find. Um, I know I had it. It was trying to. I did Fruity Flakes, not Fruity Flakes. Fruity Pebbles. Man, I'm way past that point. Um, I don't even have that anymore. Let's see, where is it? Because I did Fruity Pebbles, and to learn what's in Fruity Pebbles was astonishing because you don't realize how much food coloring is in Fruity Pebbles, and it's not even natural either.
Nope.
Uh, let's see. Search Fruity Pebbles. That way I'm not going to the thing. Fruity Pebbles cereal. There we go. So I scanned Fruity Pebbles, right, the barcode, and they gave it a, hold on, hopefully you can see that. They gave it a 3 out of 100. Bad, right? And they give you a list of things. But well, wait, there's more. So we're gonna go. So I'm gonna press the additives, right? I'm gonna press the additives, and it will tell you high risk, limited risk, and risk free, right? You got 5 high risk items in it.
Yep.
And
Yeah, and Fruity Pebbles. I'm trying to remember. Is that Procter and Gamble or is that Kellogg's? I can't remember.
and guess what the biggest things are that are bad for you? Food coloring. And just pressing on like yellow 5, right? This is And this is backed up by scientific resources and whatnot, so they don't just pull it out of their butt. But this is what it says for yellow 5. Trying to see if it'll be clear up or not. There you go. This artificial colorant is suspected of contributing to hyperactivity and attention deficit disorders in children. It could also disrupt gut microbiota and trigger intolerant reactions in sensitive individuals. Finally, excessive consumption may affect the liver, kidneys, and reproduction.
Dude, that's ridiculous. It sounds like all of the the medicine commercials you hear on TV too. All the side effects. I'm like, dude, that sounds worse than the actual problem you have.
Yeah.
What are
Well,
we doing here?
Well, and not only that, but just even scanning, going through and finding ones. There's some good items, but at the end of the day, 95 to 98% of what's in the grocery store ain't for you.
It's garbage.
It's not made for human consumption. And the app, I mean, you don't have to have the app. I'm sure you can go online and just look. But I mean, having the app helps when you're just trying to shop food wise, and you kind of get like, so this thing that says it's healthy for me, like, was it like organic stuff, whatever? And it shows like, I don't think so. It's just an interesting thing. Yeah. Even the healthy stuff, like that, I scanned like a bag, like those Smart Pop, right? You ever go to a grocery store and you see like Smart Pop? Not healthy.
Most of the stuff that's labeled organic and healthy it's not.
Yeah. It's just a extra term for like if it's done with, I can't remember what they consider under like without pesticides or something like that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how they do that.
The organic, it's
Yeah.
pesticide. It's supposed to be pesticide free, and a lot of times it actually isn't. So
Yeah.
that's my wife and I really started getting into doing gardens at our house.
Yeah.
We happen to be on enough land that we are able to do a pretty big garden. But
Nice.
I'd rather grow my own stuff because
Yeah.
the stuff in the grocery store I don't trust anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny enough because there was a gentleman I had on. His name is Urban Homestead, and he was in Florida, I think. And was doing the same thing too. He was actually a realtor, former realtor, right? He used to sell houses and stuff. And then after a certain point, he just wanted to get out of it. And so he started up this thing of urban homesteading, which is like the chickens and some animals and all this stuff and whatnot. Because I mean, some states they require like a license or something like that for owning chickens, but I don't know the total rules. But it's this weird thing where if you own a plot of land and it's not like surrounded by other neighbors, right? Because you know how roosters and whatnot wake everyone up. If you own a plot of land, there's not many people out there. You should be able to, farm animals or whatnot to the limit you can handle it, right? Never beyond. But it's just this weird thing where some states don't allow that or not at all. Like either permit or not at all. It's just this weird, like it's your land. So
yeah, I'm in one. California is like that. Because my wife and I have talked about getting chickens.
Yeah,
you got to jump through all kinds of bureaucratic red tape. I have plenty of room. There's no reason why I shouldn't be able to have that here, but I have to jump through a bunch of red tape. I got to get licensed. It makes it so it's not worth it.
Yeah,
and that's why they do it. They don't want you to be self-sufficient. Yeah. They don't want that. So they make it hard to do.
Yeah.
It's going to take people saying, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to do it. Yeah. Damn the consequences.
Or you just buy a ghost town and no one hears from you again. That's the thing.
There you go. That's the trick right there.
What happened?
Anybody selling the ghost town? Give me a call.
I think I don't know if ghost towns. Hold on. I want to see. I don't know if they do or ghost towns. Here we go. No, I don't care about your thing. Okay, I'm gonna bring this up. Nope, that's not what I want. And okay. So this thing, so these ghost towns across the USA are for sale. Now this is last year, of course, but still, proprietor of an entire town renovating West Coast, turning an abandoned community to the coolest Airbnb. Okay, hold on. I think you gotta. There we go. I think you can see that. Yeah, there we go. Yes, that's right. Entire towns that may be inhabited by ghosts are available to purchase in the United States. Thousands of ghost towns. Holy crap.
It's
Okay,
right up
so
my
you're,
daughter's alley. My daughter wants to go visit a ghost town so bad. She's into that ghost hunting stuff. So keep
yeah.
reading. This is
So
interesting.
So 5 ghost towns for sale right now is what it says. So there's one in Texas. It's called Villa de la Mina, Terlingua, Texas. And I guess this is what it looks like. Oh wow. So it looks like it's all stone. Can you see that? That all stone fencing and stuff. That's interesting. I won't play the video because whatever. But he says it's 62 acres. Property includes 20 standing buildings, a pool, a water holding tank, and the largest mine in the area with a railroad track leading into it. You take a virtual journey into the mine and the rest of the villa. In this video posted to YouTube by the Realtor Company in 2023, 1.95 million. Wow. That's 2 million.
Yikes.
That's 2 million. But I mean, if you get enough people, possible. It's 62 acres. I don't know how much 62 acres is, but that's a
It's
lot.
not. 62 acres sounds like a lot, but when you actually see it, it's not as much as you think it is.
That's how much I know my distance.
So that's a lot of money for that land, especially in Texas.
I'm sure if you get the right person to haggle, you probably get it down. And then there's one. Here's one for Sweat, South Dakota. It's a 6-acre town, sits in South Dakota, near the Nebraska border, and was posted for sale in 2014 for $400,000. In 2015, the price was slashed to $250,000, and it apparently drew interest but no buyers. It appears that that town, which comes with its own abandoned tavern, may still be up for grabs. Sweat is a literal ghost town, and that one residential building that remains in town is allegedly haunted. If you've got the cash in hand to purchase the 6 acres of sweat, good luck getting the current residents to pay property taxes. But Halloween is sure to be the event of the year. Oh, sorry, I gotta roll it down. There you go. Sweat is little ghost town. Yeah, that's hilarious. And of course, here's California. Here's one for California. Bridgeville, California. This 83-acre town, so more than the other one, 30 miles inland from Highway 101 to northern California's Redwood Coast, was named Bridgeville in 1875 when a bridge was built across the Van Duzen River. Over the years, it has had a number of owners. Bridgeville caused a stir online back in 2002 for being the first town sold on eBay. In 2006, it was listed for sale again after its owner couldn't make necessary improvements, and it was purchased for 1.25. Now, see, this is what gets me, right? Like, what necessary improvements did they have to make?
It's a ghost town. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
it's a ghost town. If you have no one else there but you, but why? What improvements do you need to make? If you have other people, I understand, but if it's just you, right, you're paying the money for it.
That sounds like California red tape.
Yeah, it was purchased for 1.25 million by Daniel Pele, who died later that year. Sad. His own family put the town on sale again in 2007. As of 2016, they still own the town and they're still trying to unload it. In 2013, Bridgeville was nearly sold to Steve Farzam of Santa Monica, who wanted to turn it to a haven of sustainability and earn the title of the nation's greenest town. But Farzam was adamant about starting his own police force, and when he was told by Humboldt County supervisor that that wouldn't happen, Farzam lost interest in purchasing Bridgeville. So technically, you could have one that's close to you, I think. I don't know where that is, but Bridgeville in California. So there's that. Gabriela, New Mexico. Okay, so this one is cheating, but it sure looks like a ghost town. Gabriela, New Mexico, about 2.5 hours southwest of Albuquerque, is a charming replica of an old west town from 1880s. The current owner built the town with the intention of creating a movie studio, and it has been the backdrop for numerous productions, events, and film shoots. But the 24 buildings included in the price are more than just props. The barbershop has an antique barber chair and furnishings. The hotel is fully functional, and even the stagecoach is included when you purchase the town.
What the stagecoach? That's fine.
The listing currently says the land is off market, though there is no information about a new owner, and the town was still available for $1.2 million in July 2023, according to Albuquerque Business First Journal. So who knows at this? Oh, sorry, who knows at this point? And I think where we at? Milliken, Oregon. So in the 1880s, it says a man named George Milliken established a ranch 25 miles east of Bend, Oregon, which is a weird town to have for a name. By 1913, Milliken was officially a town, although the population never grew to be greater than 100 residents. It just didn't have enough wives. When the post office closed in 1942, the postmaster was the only remaining citizen. After World War II, a businessman named Bill Mellon bought the remaining businesses and ran them for 40 years. In 1988, Mellon, whose wife and children were no longer living, was murdered by his only employee. Oh, wow. The town has cycled through several owners since then. The most recent listing for the town and surrounding 74 plus acres, updated in February 2022, indicates that the area is off the market, though there doesn't seem to be information on who, if anyone, bought the town. Maybe it was one of the ghosts. Har har.
Har har.
Yeah. But anyway, it ends with buying a ghost town. Is buying a ghost town right for you? Here's something to keep in mind. The process is not as simple as getting a mortgage and making payments. Utah real estate broker Mike Metzger told Money Tips that it's very difficult to find funding for this type of real estate. Most times, it's going to be a private sort of banking with loans based on the individuals and the relationships they have with the bank versus your traditional square box financing, Metzger said. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and FHA are not touching these properties. Interesting. But if you get the cash, or maybe a wealthy relative you could hit up, or a group of investors who believe in you, which is the Saragoro one, you could have a town all your own. If not, it's still fun to dream. Yeah, makes sense. But
It'd be a blast.
Yeah, it just costs.
If I had the money.
Yeah, if you had the money, that cost a lot of, like $2 million. $2 million.
That's craziness.
It's like, and the funny thing was,
For a
like,
ghost town.
Is the city not trying to get rid of it? I mean, what are they going to do with it? Look at it while the grass goes? I mean, what's going on here? But the one thing,
and the buildings crumble. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
The one thing that got me though was the one guy who said he couldn't make the changes to it, and I'm wondering, so if you even buy a ghost town, are there a certain amount of changes you have to make in order to own it, right? Because if you have to make changes to it, if it's just you and you have to make changes to it still, then that goes to say then it's not free from, I don't know, whatever rules they have for it, but or coding, like building coding or whatever.
Yeah, the coding. Yep.
It's this weird thing, and it's just like, but again, it sort of goes back to the thing was like, do you even own your home because you're paying a rent fee, basically, taxes. You're paying a tax,
Property tax.
Yeah.
Yep.
So basically,
you never fully outright own anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're paying a rent on, well, if you've already paid off your car and paid off the loan off, you own it. But for the insurance, yeah,
exactly.
That. So it's this weird thing where, because I know a while back, what was it? There were people talking about like that whole WEF thing. You'll own nothing, be happy about it. I'm sitting there thinking, like, forget the last part, just focus on the first part. And I'm like, for all the stuff we have to pay taxes on, like a rent fee or whatever, it does kind of feel like that, where you don't really own anything because you're paying a fee to keep an item. You're paying a fee to keep your house.
Yep. Both my cars are paid off, but I still got to pay for insurance.
Yeah. Then you have to pay.
You never stop paying on it.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to say. It's a weird thing, like, I've paid off my house, I own it. It's like, no, you don't.
No. Yeah.
No. It's
yeah, exactly.
You would think that you would, once you paid off the debt you owe, you would own the land, but that's not how it's worked for so many years.
Well, I
It's
was going to
been
say it used to be that way, but
yeah.
it changed.
Mm.
That's why I keep hearing people use the term perpetual slaves, because that's kind of what our population has turned into.
Yeah, we're perpetually paying rent fee.
Yep.
I don't know there any other way to expand upon. You know, you tell people like they should own a home, and then they're like, well, the homes are too high. But then they're like, well, but I don't even own the home to begin with, even if I pay it off. So it's like, what are you really getting in the first place, right? You're,
Exactly.
you're telling young kids to buy a home, but if they have to continually pay taxes on the home, I mean, obviously not the like mortgage, paying off a mortgage and all stuff, that's totally different. But if you telling them to buy a home and they don't owe any mortgage or whatever, they're still paying a rent fee. That's
Yep.
what those things are for stuff like that, is that it's a rent fee.
Yep.
You know, it's a rent fee to for insurance on your car. It's a rent fee for um what's another one? You know, it's a rent fee for your home. It's a rent fee for all these different things, and it's just like, you know, as much as people like to argue against the WWEF, I almost said WWF. That would have been the worst thing in the world. This is what they say: the Undertaker's coming. He's going to take your home. But it's just one of those things where it's like you kind of have to stop and say, but do I actually own my home to begin with? Because
Yep.
how can you tell someone? You know, how can you tell someone like your daughter, or if you had a son or nephews or whatever, to say you should get a home, and then realize, but wait, they won't own their home, and it's this weird thing. It's this weird thing, and I think a lot of I get why people say it and do it, because you don't want to be renting for the rest of your life, but that's not the thought that goes into it when you buy a home,
But
because
is it different? But is it different either way? Because I'll be honest, I've never owned a home. I've had really bad luck when it came to jobs. Like I said,
yeah,
I worked for Frito-Lay, I worked for Kellogg's and Nabisco. I
yeah,
would go somewhere and they would change their business model and let everyone go. So
mm,
as I was moving up in the company,
mm,
they'd let everyone go and I'd have to move to another company and start from the ground up again.
yeah,
But I came to the realization at some point, and it probably sounds stupid. There's going to be people who could argue against it, but
yeah,
I'm like, why would I go buy a house? Because I'm still going to have to pay on it. So it's no different than what I'm doing now.
yeah,
And the way I do it now, if something goes wrong with the property, I call a landlord. They take care of it.
yeah. Even though some landlords act like slow pokes to the issue.
Now, I've been lucky. Where I've been for the last 10 years, I have the most amazing landlord.
Yeah,
We rent where we're at now. It's not our own property, but
yeah,
he pretty much lets us do what we want. If we want to plant gardens and stuff, he leaves us alone.
yeah,
But one day I thought, dude, even if I go buy a house, once it's
mm,
paid off, I'm still going to be paying property taxes every year. So
yeah,
it's not a whole lot different than what I'm doing now.
yeah,
But I have the added expense of, if I need a new roof, that comes out of my pocket.
yeah, yeah. And that becomes the conversation of, even if the market is good, should you buy a home? And then it becomes a conversation. Well, if I buy a home, well, any expense comes out of my pocket, and I'm still paying rent, but no one's there to fix it but me, or you pay someone else to fix it.
Yep.
If I don't own a home and I go through a landlord sort of situation, you never know who you're going to end up with. Bad, good landlord, and you're not paying. You know, you're not paying taxes on the house or something like that. You're just paying a straight rent fee or whatever they charge you. But the thing of it is that you have to wait. If you have a bad landlord, you're waiting for someone to fix your stuff. You can't touch it.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah,
touch it.
I've lived in that situation too, where I had a horrible dude. It was a nightmare. But the last 10 years, this guy, like, I actually posted it the other night.
Mm.
He knows what's going on with me and my physical problems.
Yeah.
And he came over. We had a talk for about 20 minutes, and he was like, "Hey, go get one of those big, huge yoga balls." And I said,
Yeah.
"Dude, I don't really have expendable income. I can't even go do that."
Mm.
Well, 15 minutes later, he had driven to Big Five in town and bought me one and shut
Aw.
up at my door. So that's the kind of landlord I have now.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That feels like a
That
rarity.
rare. Yeah, no, yeah, like I hit the lotto.
Yeah. Because again, you live in a state that's just pure mess for what it is, to be honest, and then you sort of have a little haven within that mess. But I mean, even then, California laws and all this stuff, they don't help your landlord very much. And
No, at all.
yeah, and so
And
you
and and even with everything I said, like I mentioned earlier, we thought about moving. I would at some point like to own a house. I want to leave something to my kids
mm,
at some point. And with the SSDI, I've been out of work for 3 years, so I'm gonna get 3 years of back pay. And I was like, dude, there's a down payment.
mm,
Bounce, we're out.
mm,
But then I second thought it and thought, then I'm not going to do that to my daughter. I'll wait till she graduates. But
mm,
we will at some point move, and I will buy a house. I don't mean to make it sound like don't buy a house. That's not
yeah,
what I'm saying.
yeah,
Just for me, it didn't make sense up to this point because of how my work went.
yeah,
It just made more sense to me to do what I'm doing. And at some point, I'll go buy. I want to buy acres
yeah,
where my kids can put more than one house on it, whatever they want to do with it.
yeah.
In a state that's free where you can actually do that stuff, because in California you can't.
Yeah, that's the sucky part. Probably what would probably be best is like somewhere in the Midwest, like Nebraska or Dakotas or somewhere there, because those seem to be like the less not occupied, but like I don't know how to explain it. Like you go to Florida, bustling. You go to maybe like Virginia, South Carolina. All those states that are bustling. It feels like those kind of states, like Nebraska, Oklahoma, Alaska, not Alaska, Alabama, and Alaska's way up there. All these things where it feels like there's not a whole lot of bustling, like you compared to like California or whatever. So maybe there's possibility you could just buy acres out there and just never be heard of again. That sort of thing. But again, it does come down to the point: is do you actually own the land you've bought?
We still never will. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would be passed on to my kids, and they'd have to pay the property taxes.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it's just that weird thing, and again, I got the aspect of what was said and what they were pointing to, but I'm like, have you guys really sat down and thought about just that saying alone, like you don't own anything, and then you become, hey, Kismet, how are you doing? And I thank you, Angry Marine. It's just when I started to sit down, let's go. We're talking about owning homes and how sometimes it's not owning a home, it's just renting it. Florida is legit, but you got to buy in the center for decent prices. All right. We got a Florida lender. DeSantis is abolishing property taxes. Well, he's got to do it first instead of saying it.
yeah.
Always, you have to follow on the do, never the say, because anyone could say, but it's the do factor that changes things. I love fantasy. Well, owning a home is he's saying I love fantasy. Owning a home is a fantasy. Yeah, to some people it is, but I mean, again, it goes down to the point of owning things, right? What do you truly own? And when you're talking about leaving something behind for your kids, it does come to the point where what do you own when you can't own? Right, if that makes sense. Like you don't really, you're borrowing basically from the moment you're rising to the sun and then the more to the setting of the sun. You're basically borrowing on a personal level, right? We're past the government, past whatever. You're basically borrowing, which is kind of the weird thing, because again, that's just the philosophical sort of talk that I try to kind of go beyond the aspect of when we talk about owning something, do we own it? Because in a true sense, we don't, but we believe we do. It's complicated in trying to describe it, but I'm trying to make sense on it.
I get what you're trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think those are some of the things that probably should be fixed. I know Trump's only got 3 and whatever amount of time left of this year, but those are the kind of things that need to be fixed.
Yeah.
Once someone owns a home, property taxes done. There's ways they could fix this stuff.
Yeah. That's a kismet. Someone apparently told all the landlords they could charge $800 a month for an apartment in any condition. I've seen that. especially in California, would pay like for a shed or something, like a shed thing, and it'd be like around that amount. And Angry Bean says, "You are renting property owned from the state with property." Yeah, but again, you don't. You're right. You're just renting property, basically. Even if it's just from someone else, you're renting property. And you're renting your right to own. But if you're still paying taxes after you own, after you've paid off your debt and owning the place, you are still not owning the thing. And you're probably talking about what DeSantis is doing, so I understand that. But on the point of beyond that point, like other states, you're still paying a tax. You still don't own the land. And I think that's where a majority's at. You own your honor and the honor of your family name. Family names can die out, man. It's a weird thing when you start sitting back and start realizing that how it took for you to get here, and all those names are just lines on the page, and how far there will be before your name's just a line on the page. And just like any tree, right, it can just disappear from history. And that's a weird thing, is like another side of the coin of that too is legacy. You hear a lot of people, legacy, whether it be, the president or some other faction, people want to leave a legacy. But a while back, when I think it was during when Trump was in his first presidency, his first term, you saw them remove statues of presidents. You saw them remove statues of Robert E. Lee, I think it was, right? You saw them remove plaques and all this stuff. So what does it say when we talk about legacy, right? Just as a hypothetical, when we talk about legacy and you see them remove legacy of other people 200 years back, right? Just 200 different people 200 years back. What does it say about legacy for the future of an individual?
Yeah, who doesn't have who doesn't
What?
have that kind of weight behind them. Yeah, they can
Yeah.
wipe you away like that.
The only way a legacy lasts is if it ends up being a story, and stories change over time, little by little. But at the end of the day, legacy itself is limited. It may go a long time, but there's a finite point to where it gets cut off or it gets changed over, and those branches and leaves, that tree just disappears. Um, a long line of women dumb enough to married to my family. Well, I'm not going to comment on that. I'm going to leave that one alone. Not going to put my words on that. He's right. If you don't pay the taxes, you lose your property, so you don't actually own per se. If they could just take it, exactly. Like what is it? The government could do something domain.
Eminent domain.
Yeah, eminent domain. Where can they just take it?
Or just the seizure. Yep.
Then seize the property, see it. So at that point, it's like, what then? What do you have then if they can just take it away from you? Might as well be like some of those people who built it in caves and see what happens. You just go out to the mountains and just find a cave and say, yeah, you know what? We'll just make this into a home. They can't take it away from us.
Starting to sound good to me.
Yeah. Live in the hills, out in the caves. No one will find you there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just a thing too when faith for the universe, nothing fades. Yeah, I could understand that as well. But it was just on when people talk about legacy, I think they forget that legacy itself can fade. It can eventually. It takes time. Like everything takes time, right? Like the bones of human beings, eventually fade. They eventually crumble, and they find you in some weird positions. Like, what was he doing at the last moment? And it looks like you were sitting on a toilet or something like that. The government owns the mountain. Well, they can certainly try and blow it up. That's for certain. They'll just throw rockets at it or whatever. But yeah, again, this is all philosophical matter. But when you start thinking on it, it does become this thing where you're what do you truly own, what truly is a legacy, and what do you truly leave behind. Because everyone wants to leave behind something. That I do understand. That I do know. Everyone was, things like YouTube wouldn't have been invented if people didn't want to leave something behind or be seen or whatever. People do want that. But I think there comes a point where people have to be satisfied on on a point where it has to be a form of contentment, where you have to be satisfied, where it may not last long past you. You may at one point, your family name may just be nothing more than, writing in a stone, and some person comes by and it's like, who's the archbishops or something like that,
Yeah,
that sort of thing. I think there's a point where people have to be content with what is, um, and
I
just try to
totally
live
agree
it,
with that.
and just try to live out. And Angerman says, I was tugging it. That's my claim for when they. That's him. That's him talking about sitting on the toilet when they find him. That's a weird looking skeleton. It just looked like he's, his hand is between his
Wow.
legs. Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. That's too funny. And then Kismet says, all things fade, governments, people, name stuff makes one reconsider what you could. Yeah, kingdoms fade. Egypt was once a big kingdom, and or whatever, no longer, right?
And there's a lot about it that's still a mystery. So yeah, like you said, time erases a lot of stuff. So
Oh yeah, makes
that's where the
amnesia.
contentment comes in. And it took
Yeah,
me a lot of years to realize that. I'm
yeah,
good with what I have right now. If
yeah,
I don't end up buying a house, leaving it to my kids, I'm
yeah,
still good with
yeah,
what I've done with my life.
yeah. It almost makes humanity an amnesiac, basically.
Yep.
Something happened. We know something happened. We don't know what it is. We can't remember what it is. But we dig up the mess left behind someone who say, and we try to deduce what was happening from that. Even though, yeah, um, the internet is forever. It is now a matter of record what I was doing. I think we'll have to pass on that one. Sir, this man is in a very strange way. What do you think he was doing? I think he was trying to protect his privates from being destroyed. You may not want to dig up the mess I left. That's too funny. Oh, that's too funny. Oh my gosh. I may not want to either, but by then it'll be petrified, so who knows what's left in it. Ugh. Huh. Why are there nuts in this? Ugh. Ugh. Oh my goodness. But yeah, those are just things that make you stop and think about, because when people talk about legacy, when people talk about owning things, when people talk about certain things that seem final, they aren't, and that's a weird prospect to think about. Really, it's just weird, but it also kind of have to, because again, I think people some don't go too far in their thinking, but it's understandable if they don't. You'll be petrified just like my. Oh no! Eat a Snickers. You're an angry Marine. Eat a Snickers. Just eat a Snickers. You'll be fine. But yeah, that's hilarious. But anyway, we're gonna start winding down, because it is getting close to the 2 hour mark, and I do have to work in the morning, and I do have to set up for tomorrow's stream, so I don't want to. I love being funny. Sorry, no, you're fine. Be funny as much as you want. I don't care. I was laughing, so
and,
there's that.
and my
Um,
raccoons are going to be here pretty quick too.
yeah,
The
yeah,
raccoons are about what time is that? I can't quite tell. Yeah, about 40 minutes. They'll probably show up. So
yeah. So we'll start,
got to get the food bowl ready.
yeah. So we'll do our self promoting again. If you want to do that, that's up to you. And then we'll do a few other things, and then that will be it, and we'll just kind of end out. So, but of course, thank you again for coming on, and thank you all for coming to watch. It's pretty awesome to get just talk to people even miles away. So there's that. But anyway, if you want to do whatever, it's the floor is yours now. So
Well,
you're actually.
like I said earlier, I
Mhm.
don't really create content. Not yet. I
Yeah,
got plans. I got
yeah,
plans.
I believe you.
I've actually mentioned on my page
Hmm.
for years I've wanted one of the Darth Vader like movie mold costumes, and
Yeah,
I will get one day.
yeah.
When I'm not wearing it, it's going to be sitting on a mannequin in my living room. I hope I
Nice.
don't shoot it one night thinking it's an intruder. Yeah, but I have plans on maybe podcasts. I have a room that I was thinking about setting up. But in the meantime, if you just want a cleanse every night, you're tired of all the bad news you've looked at all day, just visit the page around 6:37. You'll just see some raccoons. Take your mind off all the nonsense.
Yeah,
That's it. I because there's a lot of people. It grew, like I said, like 10 people started watching it first, and now I'm probably about up to 400 people that are literally just waiting every night for their little fix of the raccoons. So
yeah, and it's
and I'm glad it does that. If it gives people 5-10 minutes of taking their mind off of all the crap, that makes me happy. So
that's awesome too. And yeah, again, his links are down below to either his Twitter X or Truth Social. So those are down there. You have a bunch of Canadian geese.
you hear it?
Yeah, I hear it.
There's a pond right behind me, a big, huge pond, and it's ducks and geese. And we're surrounded by wildlife out here.
Oh goodness, this is gonna be fun. But anyway, from my end of things, of course, again, his links are down below if you want to check him out. See, he's an awesome dude to have on. But anyway, from my end of things, whether you're on the Rumble side or whether you're on the YouTube side, whichever side you're on, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, sharing the content, leaving a comment or follow, anything that helps with uh, the reach, like the being seen more or whatever, the engagement factor is much appreciated because again, it all helps in being seen more, like all content creators want to be, but also helps in having other people on, like Darth Dad, like One Man Cast, who was in the chat earlier, and so many others. It's incredible to how many people I've been able to reach to, whether they're here in America, Australia, the UK, all over. So any help with the engagement factor helps with that. And of course, I have a link down below. My Twitter X is there. I have an email there and all this other stuff. If you want to check it out, it's down there. If you'd like to take up the opportunity to come on yourself, guess what? There's a comment section or there's a link down below. You can go find my stuff. And believe me, I've only had one person do it. And it was a Canadian. So how funny is that? But anyway, guys, any help with the engagement factor on either Rumble or YouTube, and of course, link down below. Much appreciate all being here. Oh, there he is. No. We were gentlemen, Lord of the Ring. We were gentlemen. Oh, thank you for that. I thank you for that, Angry Marine. And of course, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, I do this thing. It's called the Pay It Forward stream. And what I do is I go on the Rumble side of things and I go through their live stream section. And I kind of just stop by people, give a little love, donors and all that stuff. And I've been doing that for 46 to I think 47 times. It's 7 different times. It's not in a row because holidays and stuff kind of get in the way of things, and I don't do on a holiday or a family event. So there's that. But 47 different times on a Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Of course, I'll be joined by my guest, Fatal Investing, who will be joining me then, and it'll be a fun time. So 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow with Fatal. I hope you'll come and join us for that, and it'll be a fun time. And of course, the last thing I do with my guests, the very last thing I do, is a thing I called questions from a hat. So what about hat from Rumble, and I put some questions in. So what happens is you, my guest, gets 2 freebies, right? 2 freebie questions. I'm not monetizing YouTube, so sorry guys. It is what it is. But if you're on the Rumble side, I'm already monetized. If you want to give a Rumble rant, which is their super chat sort of thing, you can pay for another question to come out of hat. Doesn't matter the amount. Don't care about that. All you have to do is if you want more than the 2, you got to pay for another one to come out of hat. So I'm going to start with my first question. And this question anyone can answer, right? I'm going to pull one out. Let's see. Not even looking, just putting my hand in there. Man, that geese is very angry.
It's flying over my head as we speak.
Well, that's boring. Well, you know what? You come here for the fun stuff, all right? Don't give me that. But anyway, here's the first one. And the question is, what's the best piece of advice you have ever received? Yeah, I asked the big ones, don't I?
Probably, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
That
Zip it.
is that is that's a pretty good one right there. Some people like to say a lot, and sometimes
I try to be positive as much as I can. So if I don't
yeah.
have anything nice to say, just zip it. And then there's plenty of times I got something to say, but shut your mouth. It's don't why.
Yeah.
Why?
Why waste the energy? Yeah, why waste the
Yep.
energy? I'm not
What
saying
good
that.
does it do?
Yeah, well, I'm not saying there aren't times where it's not necessary. I'm just saying a majority of the time, yeah, there are other ways. But no, that's a pretty good answer. But anyway, here's question number 2, and unless the rumble rant comes in, that'll be the end of it. This one says, all right, what's the weirdest dream you've ever had?
How do I pinpoint one?
You just
It's
pick
been a,
you just
and at
pick
the
one.
same time, it's been a long time since I've dreamed. I don't
Yeah,
sleep very well anymore. So,
right.
probably the weirdest one was it was a nuclear holocaust dream. I
Really?
don't even know how to go into detail, but it was the world was ending.
Yeah.
The very end of it, I was basically consumed by fire, and that's when I shot out of bed, and sweating, breathing heavy.
Oh goodness. All right. Well, Lord of the Ree gave $2. No, Lord of the Ree, you don't get to ask questions. It has to come from the square from the hat. So hold on. I gotta write down. So that again, I gotta write down his name. Uh,
Oh,
Lord of the Ree, 3 E's. There you go, Lord of the Ree. All right, let's pull another question out. Let's see if I can't get one that's a. There we go. Let's try this one. Why are you? Don't fall over. This one is here's question number 3. Since thank you, Lord of the Ree, for that. I appreciate it. This one is this is an interesting one. It's a two-parter. So do you tip or not? And if you do tip, do you tip more than usual?
I do tip, and I tip way more than I should.
Yeah, I mean, I used to do pizza delivery, and so I was on the receiving end of those kind of things. And let me tell you, I was near a college. I was in a college town, and when the college would have summer camps, they wouldn't tip a darn thing. They wouldn't tip a darn thing.
Yeah,
Was
no, there's been plenty of times where we've gotten pizza delivery or maybe we DoorDash something and I go grab the money to tip and my wife's like, what are you doing? Why are you giving them that much?
yeah, I do it because I've been on the
It's a
other side.
crap job.
Yeah,
I've done it before too. I delivered pizzas in the past, so I know
really.
it sucks. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that, that was one of my first jobs out of high school was actually delivering pizza.
was
Yeah,
it for Domino's?
it was not.
Ah,
It was actually for Mountain Mike's. I don't know if they're just West Coast. I'm not even sure where they're at, but Mountain
yeah.
Mike's Pizza.
Mm.
And I got some crazy tips over the years, but I did it for about 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years. I got some bizarre tips.
I had a Barzar situation.
Weed, beer.
Yeah. Oh goodness. Like, hey man, would you like some ganja? It's like I
Yeah,
gotta
dude, I
work.
don't have any cash on me, but I got a 6-pack. Yeah.
Goodness. And Lord of the Rings says if a school gave you a tip, that's just your. Well, school never gives a tip. The only tip they give you is asking for more money. Mm. Mountain Mike's Pizza sounds very Epsteinish. Well, I mean it's alliteration, so Mountain Mike's Pizza. I mean, there's that. You could say Mountain Dew Mike's. No, that would work. But anyway, that is the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen. Again, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern will be the Pay It Forward stream with Fatal Investing. I hope you'll come and see us. And of course, thank you again, Darth Dad, for coming on. It has been an awesome time. And of course, the door is open to do it again. I try to always bring back people on because there's always more to talk about, especially when you have a bunch of geese telling you what else
Geese.
to say. Yeah. So anyway, but yes, thank you again. I much appreciate it. And of course, thank you all for coming and watching it. Even if you just arrived towards the end, I appreciate it. And of course, I end the show because I played a music video in the end, which missed. But for the end one, I do play a music video. It is called where is it at? One Day with You by Pogo. And if you don't mind, I don't know if you can mute yourself from your end or not, but make sure if you can, because it'll bleed into the music video. So just be careful of
Got
that.
it. Thanks for the invite. Take care, everybody.
All right. Have a good one. Bye, guys.